Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for our deceased members and those that are under the weather. Yep. So, this is the regular meeting of the Newcastle Board of Fire Commissioners for October 17, 2024. In attendance, we have all our commissioners. And correspondence is the next item. I don't have that letter. Was it to us or we sent a note to them, right? Okay, and then I signed it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, okay, so it's here. I don't know what we're supposed to do about it. Have we heard anything back from
I
them?
just added it as.
Yeah, okay,
No, and they uploaded it to the
Okay.
website.
good.
We haven't heard anything back, so.
Okay,
Oh, you're talking about Mount Pleasant Fire
Yeah.
Protection? It was just for posting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That contract is up next year anyway.
Right.
so.
I don't think we need to continue the public hearing. We finished that yesterday, Monday, no, Tuesday, I guess it was. Chief's report.
Good evening. New business, but I understand I just heard at the beginning of the meeting, there's a meeting Monday night at 6 o'clock with the contractors regarding the operational impacts of the project at the firehouse. I do understand from the email thread, there were some questions concerning whether or not the gym equipment is actually 3,000 pounds. I did delineate each of the items on there where it is in excess of 3,000 pounds, so. The other item, under old business, where do we stand with regards to the policies?
Well, that's one of the items that we were gonna talk about in a little while. I've read the policies that were outstanding that we have to look at. And I have no comments on them. I think we should send them off to the lawyer and as they say, follow proper procedure to get them approved and then see if he has any comments and we can approve them.
Is that the remainder of the policies that were on the?
I did the ones that,
Together?
yes.
Nothing to do with membership. I did speak with Commissioner Zezzi before the meeting started about the 3 new members who do need to return their insurance forms. Going back to under old business, we have talked about it the last couple of meetings, the new chief's truck. I sent you the specification information on that. That's for discussion during your truck report.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's a weird line item on our driver qualification form to notify the board of the new driver. Now, we have to submit a request to you if somebody wants to become and start driver training. Never realized once a person is signed off by the DTI. So Matt Buchanan is finally qualified at engine 146. So here's your notification. I guess I'm going to remove it from the form because once you approve somebody to be trained, I don't think it really matters to you what they're able to drive.
I don't imagine so. Once we know that, and Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, once we know that somebody's out driver training on a particular piece of equipment, I guess we tell the insurance company, and if that makes any difference in our policy, yeah, and after that, it's their driver.
So I'm going to amend that form internally, but again, so you stay with what we currently have in place, so just provide you with the notification and start driving.
Yep.
As an officer, he'll drive as a last resort, because obviously the intent is for a driver and officer to be there in an officer capacity, not tied to these apparatus.
Right.
From an expense perspective, our refreshments, $230. I wanted to check on that. Normally, when we do the annual hose testing, we pay for the hose testing. We also buy the guys lunch who's doing it. I don't know whose line item you would normally take that from, whether it's you apply it through the hose testing and maintenance, or you just ding the chief's operating fund. That's why I left it kind of vague when I sent it to you. And there were miscellaneous supplies that we needed for open house, so that would go against open house or again, Katie, I forgot whether we had the new budget category for open house or we still put that under recruitment and membership.
For this year, we'll keep it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a total of $407.40. September, we've had 31 alarms. Just as a sidebar, month to date for October, we've exceeded the total number of alarms for September, so it's been a pretty busy month. Our annual physicals and fit tests are scheduled for October 29th. And, we've added the other component of the, to get ahead of the OSHA requirements with regards to a mental health station where there'll be a person there just gonna speak with every firefighter. Just how they're doing, if they'll give them some information, if they want to reach out to other resources or whatnot. It's not a counseling session per se, but just having a conversation with, the firefighters, letting them know there's options available to them outside of the Newcastle Fire District or the Chapel Fire Department. And they made it compulsory for all members so that there's no stigma attached if somebody goes over to speak to this station. And you have to go last, it'll be long.
I thought that was me.
Oh, no, that's a separate session.
It's a whole different person.
And other than that, that's all that I have.
Okay, in regard to your OSHA on the 29th, we're going to ask all the board members and the secretary and treasurer to make sure that there's nothing of any security issues, sensitive issues in this room, because this room, if I'm not mistaken, will be used for the audiology testing. So they're gonna be sitting here and here and here, and there'll be people in and out, maybe even people from other departments here.
So we'll
So,
actually use it for a fit test, so it is only limited to
Ah,
our folks
okay,
and a couple of people from Pleasantville who need to be fit tested.
okay.
But the physical parts are done all upstairs.
I thought the
so-
audiology was down here, I'm sorry. Okay, so just a note to all of us, as we get towards the 29th, let's make sure that there's nothing out here that's of any kind of sensitive nature. Okay, anything else, chief?
No, I'm sorry, the 27th. I keep saying the 29th, but it's Sunday, the 27th.
Seven.
Oh, it's here, this 29th. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, so as we get towards the 27th, let's make sure there's nothing out here. Thank you. And that was all for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that I'd like to get a motion for the chief's expenses this month. May I have a
I'll make
first?
the motion that
Alright.
we approve the chief's expenditure
Okay,
report.
do we have a
Second.
second? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you. So carried. Katie, it's in your court now. Okay, approval of minutes. Yeah, go
We have to, it's Katie's turn.
Or we have to do approval of minutes next and then treasurer's report?
Oh, you said it was in Katie's hands, so,
No, I meant the fact that to
okay,
pay
sorry.
the chief, to reimburse the
Oh,
chief.
okay,
Yeah,
we both took it the same way.
all right, so approval of minutes. Does anybody have any questions on the July 15 minutes? Questions, comments, corrections?
No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that okay, let's do both of them. Anybody have any questions, comments, corrections on the September 19th minutes of 2024?
Oh, well, I sent out,
Yes,
some corrections, and I just wanted to ask the board, I know Lynn Weinig had also mentioned any conversations, discussions regarding the project to be, reported in a little more detail than, just minutes. You know what I'm saying? Because Paul, you had some specific things,
There's a transcript,
what?
there's a transcript and the video. The minutes are not meant to be a review.
No, I understand that, but anything that's said in the meeting, I'd appreciate just a little more detail. If that could be done.
okay, let's see, so anybody have any questions, comments, or corrections to the minutes of 7:15 or 9/19/2020?
I did have a couple of corrections, amendments for the September meeting, and I just would like to know the board's feeling on including more detail with discussions on the project.
I am personally, and I'm just gonna jump in here, I'm personally okay with the way they are right now. If we need more clarification, we can get the verbatim and the nuances of voice from the video. So I'm okay as they are. I don't know what anybody else has to say about that. Mike, Ed, Charlie,
what about from the public's perspective?
they can listen to the video and they'll hear everything, hopefully. So it's just a matter of, brevity may be good in some cases. Yeah.
I think that we should at least capture the gravity of the topic
And are
that's being said in the minutes. So I don't think it's just, Paul said, Mikey needs a truck. It should say, the truck has to go through the proper channels, to be approved and, that kind of detail, I think, even if it's bullet pointed. Not, it doesn't have to be a big paragraph, but I think it should capture the points being made, within that section.
And are you saying that there has been omissions that we should have installed there? I mean, let's use the
Well,
truck
no,
as an
just-
example. But
Just
that's not-
clarity, just clarity.
Are you say they're unclear now? I'm trying to get a
Well,
sense of what
it's
we need
kinda-
to add.
It
You know what he's saying? Give us an example.
I understand that. I think the minutes are there. Okay, I think like you capture the topic,
Right,
but things are said underlying the topic that just need to be not described, just bullet pointed. So that when if somebody wants to go to the video, it says, we talked about the truck and then, we spoke about 7 points but there's only 1 point that was mentioned.
I hear you. How many people who are gonna look at this are gonna spend time of a meeting recording, listen to every single word? If they want, they can watch the video.
But
That's my opinion.
But if I may, to your point.
But I don't
with
think it's
regards to
asking-
the project,
Yeah, that's really what we're
people are
talking.
looking for a perspective of. With two issues that obviously are the hot topics with regards to breaking through the bays as well as the rear door. So if someone who's interested in the project, so we're basically saying we're going to have project update was given as part of the minutes. Then we want those residents that if they really want to understand more about going into the project, they have to go find the audio to listen to the audio, or they have to go find, why not put the information there in front of them? I mean, to your point, Ed, that, a person who wants to find out some very specific information, we're basically saying that, well, just play back the audio. And again, there's the letter and the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is to be all inclusive and to share information with people, not to make it more difficult for somebody to gather information about a topic they're interested in to find out. If they want to see bullet points, oh wow, they've really got a hot topic with the project, or they've got a hot topic with maintenance of vehicles. They can get a synopsis of it from the minutes as opposed to, all right, where in the meeting do I have to listen to this part to who's gonna speak next? Because again, there's no video, it's just audio.
I've seen video. There's video.
Oh, no, from the way that you would describe the person who played back the audio.
I meant the video audio
Fair point.
combination, yeah.
But I mean, I just think from that perspective that we want to be all inclusive, particularly with the fact that we're asking or we're spending $15 million on the project. My personal opinion is the minutes regarding the project in particular, if we could expand a little bit more information and what's distributed and posted, so somebody pulls it up, looks at it and says, okay, this is where they are, this is the current topic, as opposed to now with the project, well, do I go to Reddy's meeting minutes under project? Do I go to the district's meeting? So here you just have a recap.
right, and to Paul's point, it's not being critical of anything, but for example, Ed, you asked for an example, I requested, a toilet to be added in the decon area, but I also expanded upon why that's necessary. And it's not for a layperson reading it, just a simple another sentence or whatever would be helpful. And I think with regard to the project, that should be there.
Okay, let me say this. I don't know if you know this. The most recent firehouse in our area is Bedford Village. They do not have a commode in the decon area. I spoke to, I think it's Heather Feldman, who is
Right,
the chairperson there, and she said, this is the reason. She said that if somebody needs to use the commode, they have to take off their outer clothing anyway from the fire. And they went through this whole thing and they.
Let me just interrupt you real quick. We're gonna get to that, but let's talk about the detail of the minutes as opposed to the concept of the toilet.
Okay.
That's just one.
I just want
Yeah.
to say
No, no.
something to you in reference to what you're saying. If somebody was so interested, and possibly there's people out there who are, they could come to a meeting and hear everything if they were that interested.
Look,
You know,
we're not talking about granular, we're just talking about the bullet points, right? Two things were raised by the chief, one thing was raised by the commissioners, and these are what was raised. It's a summary, right? It's a bullet point. So if you have something to say against the bathroom, it's just say, Commissioner Frank brought up that this is why maybe we shouldn't have the bathroom.
yeah,
And I'm
not
just-
saying
I'm
we
just saying
shouldn't have
things
the bathroom.
hypothetically.
Don't put
No,
words
no,
in
no,
my
no,
mouth.
no, no, no. Well, I'm just giving examples, okay? Bathrooms came up. So I said, in the minutes, it should say, under the topic where we talked about bathrooms, Commissioner Frank brought up that blah, 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 against the bathroom. Commissioner Zezzi countered it and said, this is for the bathroom, and then we tabled it till the next meeting.
You know, so the point is, you're the secretary, okay? I think you know best what should be in minutes. I don't know, I trust you as a secretary to know what should be in the minutes. Anything beyond that, people who are so interested could look at the website. They could look at the meeting video, and if they're super interested, they could be here listening to the meetings. So I trust what you're doing.
Barry, let me just give it to Barry, he's been waiting, go ahead.
And I think you're dead wrong. Number one, the issue of transparency for this board has been going on 18 years. Actually, some of the stuff that I read about you mentioned transparency, being open-minded. It's an official record. People can pick up a copy of minutes, and I've looked at a lot of them in the last month or so. Within 5, 6, 7 minutes, can scan all the minutes and figure out what's going on. They don't have to listen to a tape of a meeting for an hour and a half. It's a very quick thing. Nobody that I know of is actually looking at the website. They're reading articles from Martin Wilbur. They go to the Chappaqua Community e-newsletter every Thursday, which I'm surprised no information is on there. And that's where they're getting the information from. They're not spending the time to go for 90 minutes or an hour or 2 hours scanning through a meeting. You can pick up a copy of minutes, I said, within a few minutes, boom, you know where it's
You
at.
just wanna get the gist of it.
Right,
Okay,
it's
so,
just the important topics.
all right,
Well, and this is the historical document, that's all, it takes 5 minutes.
okay, so here's a possible option here. Why don't we do this? We have the option to review the minutes when the secretary sends them out. We can make note that we want something else added to the minutes
Right,
before we approve them.
that's what we
So
should be
makes
doing.
sense.
going forward, why don't we let the secretary do her job to the best of her ability? And if we have suggested input, she can add that before we approve them at the following meeting.
I think
Right, and
the
that's
way
why I
it
sent that out.
Okay, so if we want more detail, we can say, oh, this was said, can you add that? How about
And for
that?
the record, I've never not put something that's gonna be out.
Yeah, right. So why don't we take it as a project that all of us can have input to? And if we find something that we want to add, we'll give it to her
Right,
between,
and that's what should have been done all along,
and
so.
so that's what we're going to do. We will individually, as commissioners, add information that we see missing.
I'm not gonna do the minutes,
No,
but
no,
we
no,
should
no,
be,
I'm
no,
not
we
saying
should
that.
be doing that, and that's why I
That's-
sent that out.
Right, okay, is that a satisfactory compromise
I
until
like
next month?
that.
We'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Okay. All right then, so, I'd like to get a motion to, unless there's other topics or discussion on the two separate meetings, I'd like to get a motion to approve those two meetings.
Well, is the September meeting minutes gonna be amended, or that's gonna be held for further discussion? Amended.
Your
yes.
comments? I,
Did
you,
give comments? I didn't see them.
I made some comments,
I did, I sent
In-
a 2-page.
yeah, it was a two-page
amendment.
thing.
They went to you and then the board was copied, so I'll resend them to you. When did they?
I don't see her here,
Yeah, they were.
no,
What
that's
day
why-
did that go out?
that went out on the 13th.
13th.
I mean, if this is the one you're talking about,
Was it, yeah.
this is the attachment?
Yeah, the 13th.
Yeah, right. So my feeling is that we should start using BOFC more often, because this is the problem. Maybe she didn't see this.
All right, so I'll send them out on. So what do you want to do? Hold that until next month, September? Or the board can
Well-
approve them and have Christine add them.
Does anybody have any comments or questions? Does anybody want to see anything more or less with respect to what Commissioner Zezzi had sent out on the 13th? Okay, so Mike, I didn't, okay, you're okay? All right. So why don't we just ask the secretary to include this in the minutes as a suggestion to the minutes? And there was one thing, but it's kind of minor in regards to the exhaust system that I had a question on, but it's no big deal. All right, so Christine, would you add this as an addendum to the minutes from the 19th, I guess it was? No, was it 19th or last month? That you were
September
referring-
19th is the last.
Was
September
this,
19th.
this topic was in general, not specifically the 19th, was it? Or was it in general or?
What I sent out
Yeah,
was for
for that-
to be added to the September
Okay,
19th meeting.
All right, so would you add this as an addendum and she'll send it to you? And then going forward, if any of the commissioners have any comments, additions, corrections, we'll send them to the secretary before they're approved at the next meeting. How about that?
That's good.
Okay. Alrighty then. All right, so a motion to approve the minutes as amended for the July 15 and September 19. I'd like to get a motion to.
I'll make
approve.
that motion.
Okay, a second, please.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you. Okay, they are approved. Okay, next on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
I thought I'd start with the detailed report from the capital projects account, just because you may have seen $1 million go out, which would be alarming. But that was just the return of the good faith depositors, this money that came in, went back out then 2 days later after the bond closed. So the total number there was 1.189,331.12. And the main checking account, that pretty much speaks for itself, 51,865.52. Also, I wanted to talk about the, budget transfers, which were part of, it was included in the big budget that was approved. But I don't think you guys voted on that third budget transfer.
Which one was that again? Say again?
It was a collection of, no, that, or, yeah, no, that was the fund balance transfer.
The 11,000, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
That should have been done this year.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
yeah, it's the, no, it's not. So that was the fund balance transfers. And then I just want to find. Budget transfer. Oh, I see. It's on the second page of that. So, in the fund balance matrix. That's the. There's still the fund balance transfer. The budget transfers.
That was printed when? Don't know if I have that.
Sorry, guys, looking my folder. I didn't see it.
30.
Oh, here it is. And I believe I printed copies actually on the Rico, because I think there was an override issue when I sent it to Christine, so.
Is that what's in the printer now?
Yeah. Make sure that's it. Got it? No. Oh, yeah, those. If you. And.
Do you need one?
I don't.
Thank you.
Okay, so, this was included in the budget, on the lower left-hand side of our big legal thing, but these are just budget transfers that we need, to make every account whole for the 2020.
So. I was wondering, do we have, is this one of the, sorry, to speak not clearly. Do we have to approve these individually?
No, I think it's all considered, well, Christine would have to tell you,
You can do it as one, just to be it resolved that the following budget transfers are hereby approved for 2024.
Okay. So basically, this is moving money that we didn't move at the early part of the year into the places they were supposed to have been moved.
no,
No.
these are budget transfers, so wherever there was a shortfall, we're
Oh,
taking from one account to move to the other.
okay. This is in leading up to our budget approval.
No, this is a separate issue. This is the 2024 budget. So it's just wherever there was a shortfall, we're moving money from surplus accounts to deficit accounts.
So
Okay.
cleaning up year end.
Yeah, okay.
Does that include the budget trend or I'm not sure the right term for the turnout here.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
So Mike, you recall the fall of 2023. We're gonna buy 10 sets of gear. We found out the price went from 3,500 to 54, so we knocked it down to 7. We didn't take delivery of that until 2024. And it was applied to my 2024 budget. So we were short me the 10 sets I was gonna buy this year. So that's what this movement of money is, to replace what it was charged against, so I can still get my 10 sets for this year.
Right.
Okay. I don't see anything glaring here that. But I really question, everything looks fine.
I just want to make sure buildings wasn't touched from what this says, right? So the money that we have right now is still there.
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
And I don't see anything for trucks or communications, so I think we're good.
okay. This does look good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to get a motion to approve these transfers or a motion to resolve to transfer these monies as printed here.
I just have one question, which may come up later. With the information I just received regarding, the insurance, builders, risk insurance that must be carried on the, construction site now by the district. If the board decides it's gonna be in the area of $20,000, where does that come from? It comes from the project?
It should come from the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's my understanding that it was in the budget according to Kevin. I'm not sure if it's 20,000, but
this was not a known factor.
okay.
This came up as a conversation with
Yeah.
the agent,
I
so.
thought I thought you would ask Kevin about it though, and he,
It started out at 14, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
14, but there are new,
Yeah, that's-
provisions that,
And it's longer term.
it's 24 months. They can, give us a refund if the
Yeah.
construction is finished. But before, they anticipated charging us that once, next year, once it got going a little bit more. Now, it's as soon as you put the shovel in the ground, we need to have this, coverage. There was also, a reclassification for that construction, and that's why it's higher. Okay, and our agent has been working with, Kevin, with Triton
Yeah.
and, other people to get the correct information. So that's gonna be in the area of $20,000. So as long as it comes from the project account, then it will not affect our operating budget for insurance.
correct,
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So you're comfortable with that number or maybe, region?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, yes.
okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're still looking for a motion to resolve, to make these transfers, to make everything whole. I'd like to get
I'll make that motion.
okay, and a second, please.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you, so carried, okay, Carrie. Good.
Yes, and then the other piece is the fund balance transfers, and those are part of the 2024 budget, as mentioned. The 11,000 to auto, 200 to trucks, 205 to buildings. And then the permissive referendum that it's now past its period of, whatever, that's 450, 185.
Mhm.
And then we had we had the permissive referendum from 2023. And $350,000 is left on that referendum, so I just, want to make sure it's okay to move all that money around.
Sure.
Right, the referendums
Yeah.
were approved,
Yeah.
nobody came and disputed
I
them.
don't, do they need to vote on that, or I don't?
I mean, I would say that it's a good idea, just to vote on it.
Yep,
Okay,
so those 5 transfers that are.
okay, could you just enumerate those transfers just to keep us up to date?
So 350,000 from, buildings and the main operating accounts to the capital H fund. And that was part of the permissive referendum in 2023. It was a $1.5 million referendum. We've moved 1.150, so this is the balance. Number 2 is the 450,185. That's the permissive referendum, just from this year to make Kevin's budget whole. Remember, there was just that shortfall of 450, 185. So that's also, buildings to the H fund capital account.
That's to complete the second floor,
Correct.
right? Okay.
The third one is from the 2024 budget. It's 11,000 from Maine to the auto reserves. 4 is 200,000 from Maine to the truck reserves. And 5 is 205,000 from Maine to the buildings.
Are you looking at the sheet you just handed out or a different sheet?
No.
Oh, that's fine.
Different, I didn't.
You want me to put it in the
Do one?
If you have a copy handy, I'd just like to look at it. I don't have a copy in front of me. Sorry. Thanks, appreciate it. That's it. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have any questions, concerns? Sure, go ahead.
Yes, so we had planned on also moving 950 from Maine to the truck reserve.
Right.
Well,
Is that a good number? You're comfortable with that?
I am,
And it will give us enough cushion until we get our next influx?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And then on top of that, what we had originally planned to do was move the money from auto to Maine to buy, Chief Betsy's truck, but since money's already there, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So if we could just, plan to do the permissive referendum for the 73,100 for the Ford.
We should all have a copy of the permissive referendum.
Yeah.
For the days.
Yes, right, okay, Right. Yep. right, okay. All right, so, what do we need, a vote on the proposed scheduled transfers, and is that, just a simple vote, or is that a resolve to do that kind of thing?
Well, the fund balance one is just a simple.
So that's
vote.
why they are different, I guess. I think these were already like voted or permissive referendum, you know? So the 950, I think they have to do a resolution.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Right,
it'll all be part of the resolution.
Oh, okay.
In general.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, okay, so with all that said, does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to make some comments for or against additions? Okay, nothing heard. Okay, so I'd like to get a motion to approve these transfers as our treasurer has enumerated. I'm happy with the trucks for sure. Assuming you're happy with the buildings, you guys?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so anybody have any questions? If not, I'd like to get a motion to approve these as handed out to us.
Well, I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you. Motion made. And second, please. It seconds it. Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Thank you. Okay, that's approved.
So Katie, that clears up all that extra money that was sitting.
Correct, that's the 950 that we're gonna move.
Right,
from the
so there's no
interest
extra balance now sitting in the
Correct.
main operating account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're getting a little bit out of sequence here, a little bit. Should we talk about the chief's truck right now, while we're sort of able to resolve it? Oh, okay, so let me just start off by saying this. I looked at the specs you and Commissioner Zezzi and Chief Zezzi have come up with. There was one item that I was unsure of, and that was a port something or other that I wrote it, I highlighted it here. There was a port something that was extra. It says 3 CAN ports and controls to 99 devices / remote modules, control heads. You know what that is? There's no price here. I'm just curious what it is, but it,
For the wiring for all the chargers for the various things like the gas meter and things like that, it's all part of the electric diagnostics that are all included within that, I believe.
okay, I don't know. I mean, there's no price next to it specifically, but I mean, this sheet shows we were getting 46, 48%, 15% off on every item. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
There's a caveat where that, I don't know if it's just Ford or most fleet dealers would have, that allows them to honor the
State bid.
the state bids,
Yeah.
and that's what there's dealers in New Jersey, but it's soup to nuts doing everything. You will order the vehicle
Yeah.
and all the accoutrements at the same time.
Okay.
So it'll all be delivered, installed by his techs in, in their shop, and the only thing that we would have to do is pull the radios from the current chief's truck and get them over there for them to install. When the time is right for the vehicle, but since we do have the backup chief's truck.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, we wouldn't be shorthanded per se.
Okay.
I just want to add to that, Paul, the district had to apply for a number to be a part of the Ford
Yeah.
purchasing plan, which we received that within a half an hour. On top of that, I don't know if you want to include that in the file, but this is a copy of the New York State contract listing that particular vendor as a contract vendor.
Sure.
And so we should have that in the file.
I
so
have
you
a folder
that.
for this. As we started, I started
Okay.
building a folder. It's in there. We can add all this when the
Okay,
time is right.
so I'll give you the Ford number for the district. This contract is good through November 2029.
Great.
Okay,
Okay.
so the documentation is here and,
So 2 questions, if I may. It says here, vehicle pickup location. Does that mean that we go get it and then it's on us to drive it back, or is he delivering it? There was one vendor, when I was more
Right.
involved, he included a $400 price to bring it here
Right.
from,
Right, then the assumption is we would go pick it up and bring it back over.
and you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the other thing, okay, if we have a problem with it, do we bring it there or can we take it to any Ford dealer?
Ford dealer,
Okay.
just like with the GMs, we can take it to any Ford or GM. to any
That,
GM
that's
dealer.
for radios, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sorry, that's for Ford specific stuff. What about radios? It's lights,
The
sirens?
radios, I think it would all depend on
Who?
when an issue occurs.
Yeah.
Is it 2 months after we get it? Then yes, it's shipped right back over there on their dime.
No,
If it's a couple of years into
Yeah.
it, then we would deal with it accordingly with whatever vendor
Yeah.
we're dealing with for that stuff.
okay, all right. So, in regard to that truck, I'm fine with it. Does anybody have any questions, comments? I can send out, did you send it to everybody? You send this, Ford
did.
to everybody? Okay. Anybody have any questions on this? Do you have
I'll
a chance
just
to
point
read it?
out, it includes all the lettering.
Yeah.
So you don't have to bring it anywhere
Yeah.
and you'll be happy. There's no extra charge for the red.
I just,
Oh,
That's
I
fine.
noticed
You had
that.
it.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about it. I saw that.
what,
Wow.
this truck is gonna be red, I just saw it. Is there a reason for that, or? It doesn't matter?
No, the only reason we had an issue with color was the prior board.
So
We were missing why we don't have,
the next truck we buy after this one, is it gonna be red?
it depends on what the chief wants to do. Mike, the way it traditionally works is the incoming chief is gonna have this vehicle for 6 or 8 years.
Right.
But they let them spec out however they want. A number of us have been pushing to get away from the white Chiefs truck because they just show every blemish, every piece of dirt whatsoever. But we were always stymied by the previous board. Everything had to be white, which didn't really make sense to us, so.
Same thing with the
We had,
Silverado
Yeah.
3500. We were gonna go for a red one, and then the board chose
and I
not to.
had discussed this with Dwight from the vehicle perspective before we even went down this road.
No, I'm fine
No,
with
I
it.
just, no, I didn't, we didn't just flaunt it and say, oh.
I'm even happy they don't
we're
even
gonna
charge
do it,
us.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
No extra $500 charge.
Yeah. Okay, so, I would like to resolve, I'll read this resolution here. Board of Fire Commissioners of Newcastle Fire District #1 hereby approves the transfer of $73,100 from its capital reserve fund for vehicles/apparatus to its general fund for the acquisition of new apparatus, namely a Ford 2024 F-150 police responder pickup truck.
Sorry, but I thought we weren't doing that. We're gonna just spend it.
So we don't need this resolution then. Okay.
You have the money in
The
there.
idea and then, leaving this, the idea then is we're gonna spend about $73,000 on this new vehicle, complete, out the door, ready to rock and roll. So I'd like to get a motion that we approve this, and make,
We're not, well, what is it, reference?
The money's there, right?
You don't have to move it from auto to main.
It's already in.
It's already in main.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The only thing, Katie, do you have the purchase order ready yet? Cause you have one?
Yes,
Okay,
or what also made, right?
No, actually,
Oh.
they're looking, the dealer is looking for us to generate a purchase order, agreeing to
Oh,
the price,
gotcha.
et cetera, that will
so you
pay.
can actually have a cover sheet as a purchase order and attach the specs to it,
Certainly,
but they are asking for a purchase order.
gotcha.
okay,
We don't want to do it.
okay, so, continuing with the approval of the purchase of the Ford pickup truck. Did anybody have any more comments, questions, discussions on the purchase of it? Okay, no, I'd like to get a motion that we go ahead and purchase this truck. And, I'd like to get a motion.
I'll make a motion that
Thank
we
you.
approve, the chief says he's a new truck, 2024 Ford F-150.
7307-945. Okay, anybody have a second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Thank you. So carried.
I think I
Okay.
have to abstain.
Okay, whatever. It's-
I'm for it, but.
Yeah, of
on
course.
paper, I think I'll abstain.
Thank you. That makes good sense. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're good to go on that, Katie, and you can work with Nancy on that and get what you need to do done. Great. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Committee reports, trucks. This should be fairly short. Speaker mic on one of the fireground radios on TL27 was found to be bad, and Motorola does not repair these after 1 year. There was a spare in the mechanics room, so it's now on the radio. Yesterday, was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. We had a report that there was a light switch that was possibly bad that was maybe intermittent. We had service shop down in Hawthorne take a look at it, and he could not repeat the problem. So we're just gonna have to keep an eye on it and see if that problem resurfaces. But right now, it seems like, according to him, a service guy, that it might take a couple of seconds before the other light switches come on. This is a master switch, so you throw the master switch on and the other lights are already turned, or the other switches are already turned on. So when you turn the master on, the other switches via relays have to illuminate. And it might take more than a few seconds, and the driver that reported this problem may not have waited all that time. We don't know. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And I've spoken to the chief about it. So engine 144, the continuing saga here. The shop with the second pair of eyes found that the wrong parts were used in the rear brake shoes. They replaced the shoes and returned the removed set when they picked up the truck from, when they picked the truck up from them. I don't know, I think I wrote that wrong. The removed shoes looked brand new, but they had dramatically worn. They were actually tapered. They're not supposed to taper, especially after 50 miles or something. So I called the shop the next day and I told them that we're terribly unhappy and we're not likely going to be using them anymore. And he was very apologetic, naturally, and I spoke to the owner, one of the owners, and he just wanted the brake shoes back to take a look at them and see what's what. And I guess he's talked to his employees or something, but as of the 15th, I have not authorized payment for the work that they did, even though they sent us a bill fairly quickly. And I have not heard back from him, so I don't know where we stand with that. So, you know, if he comes at us, he may say, well, you're still using the brake drums, so we may end up paying for the brake drums, but as of now, we haven't paid him for anything on that, which is nice.
And
yes,
just to
sir.
clarify, there's a specific specification for a brake for that size Pierce fire. The brakes that were installed by the initial vendor installed them for a lower weight, smaller vehicle, which explains why when Chief Zezzi was doing the DOT test, it was failing, and that the truck was moving forward because the brakes were not designed to hold a truck of that size.
I think also possibly the diameter of the brake shoes was not fitting the drum correctly.
Well, right, that's all
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the spec and the size, so
Yep.
why that vendor did not look and use the.
They
spec
claimed,
for it.
they talked to the manufacturer of that axle, that specific axle. They claimed that they did, and the other guy that ended up fixing the problem also did, but he looked at the build sheet as well, so we now have working brakes on that truck. We have a ladder hold down clamp that has a broken threaded rod. We were having that company that didn't do the brakes adequately work on that, replace it, and they have not done it. So I'm gonna search out another source for that broken rod. It was bent, and we'll just get that installed. It's a threaded rod. It threads into one of those kind of a D-shaped things that holds the ladder down, and you just put a acorn nut on the bottom and it's done. So I'll work on that.
Probably something Ortiz Welding could fabricate.
It's not, it's only a threaded rod. We just need the right size threaded rod. So I think I'll work with our current tried and true vendor and just get the appropriate threaded rod for that.
Which,
146. Okay, with respect to the emergency standby generator, I have not heard from them. I tried to call them today, but I didn't get through. So I'm gonna try again tomorrow and see why they have not, or if maybe they have, and they just haven't told us that they replaced the water pump because it had a leak in it. I've reached out to the exhaust system vendor and asked where the transmitter is that enables the exhaust system on Rescue 23. Chief Maduris and I spent a few minutes looking, and we could not find it. So we're not sure what actual gizmo turns the fan system on. So we have to get the manufacturer to tell us where it's installed or if it's even installed. We don't know. Car 2062, I installed a battery tender trickle charger down at the Center Street Firehouse just to keep the battery and topped off. This was that. The utility 155 had a brake squeak, but it also needed an inspection and its annual PM. We took it up to get that done. And as Chief Iden thought, it might have just been because had been sitting for a while. And that's what they think it was as well. So the squeak was really a non-issue. And they came back and everything's fine with it. And that is my report. Commissioner Frank.
Okay, so I've received a few bits of information today. According to the New York State DOT permit engineer and Darylis, she said that on October 14th, both permits were approved and sent to the first listed permittee. I assume that's us.
No, it's Joe.
Oh, it's Joe.
I'm pretty sure Joe made a comment after that indicating that he will bring them, I think, to a meeting tomorrow. I
Oh,
believe.
okay.
And it's I want to say 40 megabyte file or something. It's very long.
Okay,
Big file
that's
from the
good.
DOT.
Excellent. Then, in reference to the backflow prevention device application, the town of Newcastle supervisor for water systems operation, Chris Lupo, he wrote to me, we haven't received the application yet. Typically, we review and then, if acceptable, forward to the county for their review. It's my understanding that we will be receiving this shortly. And the other thing is relating to the chief's question. I did ask Bob Mitchell's group about the 3,000 pounds, and I saw where you said it came from. And somebody, I don't know who this person is, so I want to speak to him tomorrow. Name is Craig, and I want to make sure that he understands where it is you want to put the equipment. Needless to say, I'm sure you know that, and I know at Center Street, all those heavy weights are up against a wall.
Right.
You know, the most deflection you would ever get is when the weights are put in the center of a beam.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask him, I just want to get it straight with him and where he thinks things should be set, but I'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll disperse them accordingly, and if we have to buy a couple of racks when the time comes to make sure they're spread out, because there's by the center, the wall that faces Center Street, but then at the other end of the room, we have all the weight plates that are actually on the squat rack, the big square rack. And there's more dumbbells up against the wall, so that's why we've got them pretty dispersed throughout the room, just because we wanted to keep things from not being on top of the antique in case the floors went.
Yeah, what I did, I went to Center Street, I took photographs, I sent it to them, but I just want to speak to this guy, Craig, and make sure, and I'll get back to you.
No worries, appreciate it.
Sure,
So will that take the place of a structural engineer coming in to,
that's, so I
Is that
sent
this
this to
person?
Bob Mitchell, and who responded to me was Craig. I'm not 100% sure who he is, so I want to find that out.
okay, and then with respect to the report that you're gonna meet with, Joe tomorrow about, will that enable the work to move forward? If the permit from the DOT is issued, will the work be able to move
Well,
forward?
that's up to the Bob Cioli, you
Well,
know.
Bob Cioli has to give us a permit after he sees this permit.
Right,
Yeah.
And apparently there's a backflow thing that they have to approve as
Yeah.
well. So there's two other things
Oh,
that have to
okay.
happen before this work
And
starts.
maybe if we could word it to Bob, because, you know, you got Westchester Tree Life waiting to schedule jobs.
Yeah.
You know, say, Bob, look, we've gotten this far. Do we need a backflow report to take the trees down, so you could at least get the vendor?
Sure, that
so
makes
it's not
sense.
hanging around waiting.
Are you
Yeah, I was
talking?
gonna say, how does backflow affect the
I
DOT?
don't, the town wants it.
Like,
town wants that.
I understand that, but are they holding it hostage?
No,
With the backflow?
The DOT has given us their permit. We're good there. So the DOT permit was required before the town would give us their permit. But now
Understood.
apparently there's a backflow approval that has to go to the county as well. And the town hasn't gotten that approval from the county. So we've got the DOT permit, and so that almost gives us the town permit, with the exception of the backflow issue that they're still gonna ask the county for approval on, the type and style and size and whatever.
Well,
else.
I was just trying to figure out
Yeah.
if there was some kind of relationship between.
Because every day it's costing money.
I think there's no specific prohibition from the town saying we can't do it without the backflow permit. It was all part of the sequence of permits that were needed.
Yeah.
So I think now my question was just when Ed is talking with Joe tomorrow, if they have to go see Bob and say, here's the DOT permit, just ask the question, great. Can we use this as the permit to start taking the
Yes.
trees out,
Yeah.
or do
Yeah.
we need to wait for the
Yeah.
backflow permit?
Right.
Well, and that was my question, like, I hope they're not holding it hostage for anything that,
Right, because I only heard that the DOT permit
because it
was
looks like two
holding it up.
different things that
Yeah.
are completely unrelated from
Yeah.
each other.
Right.
So you're gonna speak to Joe tomorrow, meet up with him. Are you able to go down and talk to the town about their permit?
I know if I could
And
go down, I could call Bob Cioli and
Okay.
speak to him.
speak or email, or
Yeah.
ideally go see him if he has a minute,
I'll
and see if
call-
you can get him to allow us to cut the trees or start to cut the trees.
I'll call tomorrow.
And also the other thing, when you talk to Joe, see if you can bump into Reddy, to find out where our sign is across the front. I know Christine was gonna talk to him, but he doesn't have the artwork.
I gave him the seal twice.
Yeah.
And I said, if you need a higher resolution, please let me know.
Yeah.
So I'm done. And he said he was gonna let me know.
All right. Maybe you can just bump him and say, hey, where's the signage for the front, you know, the OSHA signage and all that kind of stuff that has to go out front for safety reasons.
We don't have to spend money to get a higher resolution.
Yeah, let's not, if we don't have to, we don't have to. Okay. Anything else, Ed?
No, that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Roush.
So, this month was taking care of the outside lighting. So we started off with a conversation with, our electrician, Christopher, who, we had a couple of phone conversations with him, and then we agreed to meet and get an idea of what he was thinking in terms of what types of lighting goes where, what's the best for this side over here on the Bedford Road side, for this walkway, to be illuminated, using sensors rather than just, have it illuminated all the time. Back there, we're having it illuminated, on a timer, which certainly makes sense.
Is it a timer or a day-night sensor?
It's a timer that's over by actually,
146?
146, yeah, in the front
It
there.
kicks those on as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So tapped into that timer. And from the last time that we were messing with the timer, there was a fault with it. So we had some of the insides replaced. So it was a little more robust. Things were turning on at different times and they couldn't get the timing right. So, well, that's another story, but that got fixed. And then we sat down and we looked at, okay, now what's gonna go over here in the back to get us the back parking lot illuminated and not illuminate like the whole thing where you see it from space. So he came up with an idea of, a particular type of light that's an LED light. It has, low power. So it's not, sopping up. If we leave it on all night, it's only gonna cost us a couple of pennies to run them rather than, if it's an incandescent. So, we got that done last week. There was one light that needed to be replaced because it came, damaged. The lens was broken. Unfortunately, that was a delivery thing. He fixed that. Now, I think the last thing to do is the shoreline for,
Down by the
for the rescue.
And
And
that's,
he may do that this weekend.
Great. Great. I like those new, cord reels that you've got for the other two trucks. They're pretty nifty. Very nice.
Yeah, I think they're a little more,
Robust. for sure.
robust.
Yeah.
Than the ones that we had, yeah.
Okay, anything else?
So we're gonna replace it with actually the same thing. So, that's about all I have.
Commissioner Soldo.
Okay, turnout here. I was absent at the last meeting, but, we reviewed some, invoices and it seems like Paul was, ordered some, blocking hoods. Had some bunker gear repaired.
Yeah.
Pants and coats.
Using the leftover money from, inspection,
Right,
and then we still have to spend the bulk of the turnout gear on actual turnout gear.
Right.
now. We're waiting to make sure we have the money moved in, at square one, and then I'll get people sent down and get ready for it.
and, you ordered another pair of boots, right?
Yeah, we needed for one of our firefighters has, diminutive feet.
And just one question I have for you, I'm not a firefighter, so, this gas mixture,
Yeah, in order to test all of our gas meters, we actually have little tanks of gas that's, we're running through and it calibrates them. So that's, we ran out and needed to get more from AAA. If you ever look, it's on the desk in the radio room, there's 3 silver cylinders. These are 2 different types of gas meters.
okay? That's all after that, but, as far as the town goes, did you ask about the parking, the no parking on Memorial Drive?
No, it's quite,
I asked you.
Yeah, so, Freddie and I are in contact with Bob at the building department, gonna look and see if it's built into permit,
Okay,
or if it's, we have to,
okay.
or if we have to get another permit to, put up signs.
And Paul has mentioned this time and time again, that we're going to be having tractor trailers going in and
Yeah.
out. So they, as you can imagine, they turn wide, they're gonna unload, and they're gonna be maybe inside the property line, maybe not, when they're unloading or loading. And so it's gonna cause a real problem out there. So we've gotta figure this out so that they don't impede the unloading and loading of kids going to the school, not to mention, this is kind of new to me. I've only realized this in the last week, that there are people that live over on Memorial Drive. I didn't know that. I knew that there were a couple of businesses there to the right of the vacant lot.
Past the businesses is.
It's between the nursery school. I think there's two buildings and then the vacant lot that had a burned out house. So one of those houses, maybe two, I don't remember, maybe one or two of them have lights on at night, and people cooking, watching TV, and I didn't realize there was people living there. So, we're gonna have to be very sensitive.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work something out, because if we need no parking on both sides of the street, like temporary construction, no parking. I think we discussed it the other night where the residents may need a lot to park their cars.
It's gonna be a tough one if we're gonna try and close that road, which I really don't think we should. I think Paul's idea originally was to allow the trucks to, correct me if I'm wrong, to come in and off of 120. As opposed to Memorial Drive, which is a tight little road. You're talking 40, 50-foot tractor trailers and gobs of steel and concrete trucks and everything else, and they're not gonna be, zipping in and then the road's open for an hour or two, then zipping out. They take their time lumbering around, making sure they don't hit stuff.
Yeah, I still don't understand why Kevin or Reddy had said they couldn't line up on King Street.
I don't either.
Or he didn't want them. I mean, you have a lane and a half in each direction, so they're not gonna be impeding a traffic flow like we will out here. And all they have to do is make sure they're not blocking somebody's driveway.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of an academic conversation, but
So maybe you can bring that up next time you talk to the town about the right place to unload and load trucks, big trucks. Should they be staging on 120?
I know Kevin said a lot of his equipment stored in the back, so that would be the easiest access for them, but. I agree, maybe they should back in off the King. Cause like you said, there's gonna be 53-foot long trailers coming in and out.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Commissioner Zizzi. You're up.
Okay, as Charlie said, we're, finishing up on the lights outside. Most of our big work has been done. We do have a couple of little, jobs that we, need to finish. I think we're moving along pretty well. With regard to insurance, it's ongoing, up to date. The chief and I spoke about some of the new members and their lack of submitting paperwork. But we'll take care of that.
out the press.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to bring up the information that I just received today with regard to the builder's risk insurance, for the new building. I did send out an email and you should have received it. We should go with a higher, rated insurance. It's gonna cost roughly $20,000 if everybody's had a chance to look at that. If you are all in agreement, I'd like to go ahead and put that in the works with our carrier. Each policy though does have, it's new, a terrorism risk insurance for an additional fee. This particular insurance, it's $593. If we don't want it, I just need to make that note
What is
on
that
there
supposed to cover?
in case of a terrorist act.
Oh.
Okay, so honestly, if there's a terrorist act, nobody's gonna be here. But if, it gives you the
Could it also
option.
Be like eco-terrorist, somebody who wants to make an issue out of. a
It could be
construction
that,
site or
And like
something.
burning
technical-
fixed lights on fire?
Yeah,
yeah.
not just somebody from.
Any kind of
Right,
terrorist
shall we
act.
say.
So that's question number one. Do we need to have this insurance? The policy that I would recommend is the one that gives us everything.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to go with
And
the
that
extra
includes,
$600?
that includes the terrorist?
No, that's an additional $600.
Okay.
Should we go with that?
I would say, let's
You
not
wanna do it?
risk it.
Do
Yeah,
everything. Okay.
Let's not risk it, let's go.
I will, work with Christine to, I'm sorry, with Katie to put this in place. I will, if the board agrees, I'll sign off as the, authorized person.
Do you wanna vote on that or something?
Well, I'm just,
Just,
well, we should, and I'd also, I do not know whether they want, this paid in increments all at once. I really don't know. It's for a 24-month period. If the construction is finished before that, we will get a refund.
so the $600 additional, is that for the 2-year period, or we get
Yes.
600 every year?
No, 2-month period
Okay.
covers everything. So this fee is for the
Okay.
full 24-month period.
I'd like to get a motion that we approve this for the high dollar limit and, not to exceed, 27,000, I guess, 26,000, something like that.
Well, it would be around $22,000.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at it backwards, okay. All right,
Okay, and
about
it's with
22.
Hanover Insurance.
Yeah, about 22,000, sure.
Hanover Insurance Company. It's necessary, so we really don't have an option.
All
We
right,
have
so
to do it.
I'd like to get a motion on that. You can make it, or anybody else can make it,
I'll make the motion.
okay?
That we
Second,
purchase,
please. Second. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you.
It's insurance with the Hanover Insurance Company out of Massachusetts.
Charlie.
As Paul mentioned, the physicals will be held on October 27th, and we've been working with them to add the additional station. So we'll get that done. I will let you all know how that goes. I'd also like to thank the chief and all the members that conducted a very successful open house. And in particular, I have a little note here. Thank you, Owen, for all the hard work you did in getting all the food and supplies and everything. You did a remarkable job.
As
A lot of people.
I know it was a team effort, but you really put the extra, you went above and beyond.
That was 500-600 people, an hour. We had 300 people an hour.
Yeah, there was, how many people do you think you had?
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Like you're on camera.
And you know, and Kaylee did a remarkable job too,
Yeah.
Paul, with
I got
the trailer.
about that. She looked good that day.
She did, for sure.
Great job.
Right now, all our legal and contracts are up to date. We do have, the fire protection, contract for Mount Pleasant, the 3 fire protection districts up next year. So we will work with the controller and the supervisor on it.
Good, good.
Our work together, Paul, Charlie and I with you, working out well?
Wonderful.
Okay, no complaints about the lights or anything?
No, and like I said, we had a couple of late night alarms that took a drive by. That's how we noted about the people who actually are in residence behind us. And it doesn't seem like it's, the lights are doing anything but what they're supposed to.
You know, we specifically spec them out that they really, don't go past our boundary limits, and I think they accomplished that pretty well.
Right, we just made,
Double check once the trees are down, because that'll open up a.
we did tweak, a little bit, but good, I'm glad they're happy with that. Outside of that, that's all that I have right now.
Great. All right, old business, district policies discussion, as I said earlier, I've read through the policies to the end of that matrix that you put together, chief, and I don't have any suggestions or recommended changes or anything, so does any commissioner have any other comments or questions? I think if not, I think we're gonna have to send these up to the legal counsel for final approvals and make sure they're fine, and then we'll vote on them hopefully maybe next month.
Well, the ones that I sent out, they don't have to go, they've already been to
The ones
the
that we need
attorney.
to vote on, that's all I'm talking about.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
the ones that I sent out, they've already been to the attorney, and they are the budget process. These are all by action of law anyway, so the the only thing that was changed was Newcastle Fire District #1. So if everybody has read the budget process policy, the anti-fraud policy, the fire district secretary policy, and the board of fire commissioners policy. They should all, if everybody's read them, the attorney's already reviewed them, these should be approved. They do not have to go to the membership.
Would you like to make that a motion?
Yes, so I would make a motion to approve Newcastle Fire District #1 policies for the budget process, anti-fraud policy, the fire district secretary process, policy, the board of fire commissioner, policy.
Okay, that's a motion.
That is a motion for those.
Do you need it repeated? You're good, okay. Do we have a second on that, or a discussion on that? Okay, no.
I'll second that.
Okay, very good.
Say effective November 1st.
Is that timely enough? Is that-
Yeah.
Okay, it's like a week and a half, right?
Yeah, that's fine. With regard to the Newcastle Fire District #1 infection control policy and the exposure prevention and decontamination policy, the chief, these were also reviewed by the attorney. The chief, you sent them out to the membership. Any
Yeah,
comments?
comments.
Nothing?
Okay, just before we go any further, we have to vote on the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you.
I was in such a hurry to get it through. All right, so the infection control policy and the exposure prevention and decontamination policy. These were distributed probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah, There's a couple of questions on the decon from a procedural perspective, but not the policy itself, so I will work out the procedure with Mike on how we'll actually do it on scene, but yeah.
Right, and these will involve a little bit of, we need to buy some things for this.
Yeah, there'll be some tweaking with actually logistics and all, because it's a huge change to what is currently done throughout the fire service with regards to how, and some of it we can't quite implement 100% yet, but we've got, I'll say, Band-Aids in place to kind of address the bulk of it to try to protect the firefighters as best we can.
Awesome.
So I would like to make a motion that these two policies are put into place and effective November 1st.
Okay, why did you segregate them from the others?
These two, because these had to go to the membership
Okay,
for approval and for review, because it will affect them.
Just to clarify, the policies, well, the policies belong to the Newcastle Fire District. And theoretically, you can do whatever you want. Out of a courtesy, once you guys approve and are comfortable with it yourselves, I give it to the membership for them to review if they have any questions or comments before it goes into effect, in case we all missed something when we wrote them. There have been no comments from the membership except procedural. So for those two policies, that's why they're different than, they've already been vetted by all the proper channels. Now this is your final approval to say, yes, these are now in force effective this date.
all right, was that a motion as well?
Yes, that's a
Okay.
motion.
I'd like to get a second on that.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to Charlie this time.
Okay.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so good.
Just a quick note, with some of these two policies, we will have to purchase some few items to protect the members and also to dispose of some items that may become contaminated. So there will be a slight expense for that.
For example, like a container to carry the stuff back to the firehouse, bags,
Red bag,
canisters.
right, things like
Okay.
that.
And what do we, what's the plan, once we get stuff like, let's say a turnout gear had blood splatter, and we bring it in a bag back to the firehouse?
Those would have to
Who do
be
we-
cleaned
Who do-
separately.
Who do we bring it to get cleaned, or do we do it
We
downstairs?
have
We
the
can-
contract with Minerva.
That's the name.
Anything that's contaminated with bodily fluids.
Yeah,
I don't believe we should run through our machines
Yeah.
here. We send it up to Minerva, then we
Okay.
run the risk that they see a stitch that's out of place.
Right.
They say, well, you have to take the gear out of service, so we'll deal with that, as each instance occurs. But for smoke, irregular firefighting, we will do the decon here. Anything that includes bodily fluids, even if it's the member cup themselves and it's on their gear,
sure.
we'll still send it out to Minerva for the professional cleaning and decon for the bodily fluids part.
Okay, if they see I'm sorry to belabor this, but if they see a thread that's coming undone, will we want them to have the right to go ahead and fix it?
They don't fix.
They don't fix,
No.
oh,
We would have to send it out to AAA at that point.
I see. I thought there was a company that does the cleaning and does minor servicing as well, no?
We'd have to double check. and I'll confirm with, Millwood how they do it. But, what ends up happening is we've used them a couple of times and they've sent stuff back saying you have to take it out of service, that it's, because of whatever the problem is, and we send it out to AAA to be repaired and it comes back and it's fine. So we'll have to find the happy middle ground.
Yeah, it just seems like if they were able to do that kind of repair, or any company was able to do that repair and cleaning, then it would
Yeah, no, it's
be
without a doubt.
one-stop shop.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on policy? Anybody have anything on?
Well, are there
policy?
others being worked on?
I have read through them, and at this point, other than the changes I sent out weeks ago, spelling comma here and or versus or something like that. There's really nothing I have any problem with. Does anybody have any problems or concerns with any policies? Okay, let's do this. Let's take a look at the policies again, the remaining policies that we haven't approved. And come back if we have any time on Monday at our next meeting. Let's see if we have some time to talk about them and maybe we can get them.
I told you, I reviewed the
Yeah.
purchase.
Okay.
And, I'm not an attorney, so it looked good to me.
Okay.
If you want to discuss it on Monday,
All right, and you,
I don't know if any dollars on, as far as purchasing and whatever, need to be changed up to like modern times. I don't know when that last policy was written.
okay, well, bring that up as a question, right? The other thing is, feel free to take a look at other policies, see what other things you might like to read, Okay, project update. I think the big news, Ed, is the DOT permit was received. That's the big news.
Yes.
So we're rolling, we're rolling.
Well, I ordered the Bob's on the Zoom.
Oh, I didn't realize that was Bob. So, okay. Okay, so the next thing, project update. So Bob, you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Oh, great.
So, good evening, first of all.
Thank you
And
so much.
I wanted to just say thank you for that updated drawing with the inclusion of the proposed bathroom location down in the hot zone. I went to a local print shop. They do blueprints and so on, and I had a D-size drawing made so that we can compare, excuse me, A and B. The original wet drawings, wet seal drawings, and the one you most recently sent, that one sheet.
Yes,
And it should be over near the drawings in the back over there on the files.
Yeah.
So, we haven't discussed the installation or the change to add a bathroom down there or a toilet facility and a sink. We haven't discussed it tonight. Does anybody have any problem while Bob's here? So we discuss it and talk about it, and Bob can give us answers if we have any.
I'd like a cost allocation.
Okay,
Yeah.
so pose it.
Bob, can you just give us a breakdown on that 200,000 for that?
no, well, first off, can you turn my video on? Because I'd like to put something up on the screen. Or if you can't, that's okay.
It's on.
Okay. Okay, you see me?
No.
No, I
No.
think your video's off.
Um, okay, well, I don't want to talk about the 200 just yet because I know nothing about that number. It makes no sense to me. That was generated by the construction manager. What I'd like to start with, if I can't show you something from this side, you have the drawings there, so you can look at them. The sealed drawing shows two bathrooms.
You're up now.
Hold on, it's not properly screen shared,
Oh.
so he can't see it. Hold on.
Can you see me?
Not right now,
Can
no.
you see my screen share now?
Oh, look at that. Okay. So
Mm.
let's zoom in a little bit, or if you have the chance to, right? And then slide it up so a little more. Okay. Now you can't see me pointing, but you got that diagonal hallway that runs from the older bay to the newer bay. And you see there's the two bathrooms along that hallway. Now, that hallway is, from our point of view, has always been considered part of the apparatus bay area. Now, there's a door on each end, and the purpose of the door is to reduce the air that comes into the sitting room that might migrate from the bays, because it's just to make the air quality better in that space for people who are hanging out in it. It's not that the space between the two doorways is clean and the space on either side of the two doorways is contaminated. If there is an event, and you don't have them frequently, I believe, fires, that people could easily go and use those bathrooms, and there's a shower. Now, in the original drawing, can you flip to that one?
No, I don't have that, I'm sorry.
Okay, I have it if I can share my screen. Would that be fruitful?
Sure.
Okay. Now, you see kids at the beach? Then I know you
Yes.
see me. Okay, good. My standard, can you see it image? Okay, so this is here what the original thing was. Two showers, some lockers, and a space here to store hose. Now, what I did in the modification was modification went away. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Okay. In the modification, I took this wall here and moved it down sheet a little bit. Took this wall here and also moved it down sheet a little bit, increasing the size of the space. I took the two showers, I rotated them. We go back to the other image. Here's the two showers. And in the new image, here's the two showers turned 90 degrees. And I was able to squeeze in the toilet and sink. I think we still have the same number of lockers. The one thing that got lost was the hose rack. And there's no convenient way to put the hose rack back in here. It could live down in the older bay. But in any event, whether or not you choose to do that, you do have, in this bathroom here, you have a shower. One could easily argue that it's fruitful to have a toilet here along with these showers. Or one could say, it doesn't matter, you can walk over here and use these toilets. Now, the question about in the trade-off, you know, what does it cost you? It costs you a place to keep the hoses, and it costs you whatever it costs to put in this toilet. I think the $200,000 number is not correct because you're already paying for everything, all of this. What you're buying new is this one wall here, this one wall here, toilet, a sink, a door, and some partition, you know, toilet partition here. I've added a layer of 4-inch concrete block on each of these two walls. Well, actually, I don't need it on this left one. I need it on the right one to keep water from spraying onto the joint between the steel column and the block. But I put it here, and in retrospect, it doesn't need to be here. So we've got one group of 4-inch concrete block, maybe 8 feet by 8 feet. We've got an 8-inch block wall here, or maybe I can't remember now. Maybe it's a 6. Yeah, there's a 6-inch block wall. Call it 8 feet by 8 feet. An 8-inch block wall, 6 feet by 8 feet, a toilet and a sink. I don't see it being. I mean, if I had to pick a number out of my hat, I would say $25,000. So
That's,
Mr. Mitchell, it's Paul Iden. Just a quick question. The 8 SCBA bottles, obviously that's a storage rack for our air bottles.
yeah,
What is the spaces to the right of that look like they've got swinging doors on them?
yeah. These are a base and wall cabinet.
Okay.
So these are just the swing of the doors of the base cabinet, and there's wall cabinets. The dashed line here is wall cabinets all the way across. It's a typical detail. I mean, I can show you. Would you like to see a photo of what this looks like in a different station?
No, that's okay. Just from the perspective of is there enough space to just swing that SCBA rack to the left wall, and then I slide my hose rack right along that wall?
Put the hose rack in the same room?
In that space there,
Rotate it.
and then just swing the SCBA bottle storage along the left-hand wall next to the cascade.
I don't know. Let me look. No, see see the length of it? That would
And
take,
it's a portable one, correct? That's not a permanently mounted fixture?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a portable. You see, you have to, on the swing side of the door, you have to allow under
Yeah.
ADA, you have to, well, it's more than that. It's under code, you have to provide 5-foot depth. So this, no, I don't think you can get it all in here. The hose rack would take all this space.
As we were looking at the swinging door, no, I would agree, and I think I'd want to keep that SCBA room more pristine than putting dirty hose in it, since,
Oh,
you know, we're
absolutely,
doing
yes.
it.
Yes, I was
But-
thinking that and I hadn't gotten around to saying
Yeah.
it.
To the board, from an operational perspective, I can work with putting the hose rack somewhere. Or even if we're getting closer to completion, instead of a hose rack that wide, we knock it down into two smaller ones and we put 5-inch hose below, hand lines up top, whatever. If this change to put that commode and sink is $25,000-$30,000, I'd even say 50 or less. I see great, because I'm looking at it from the perspective, I come back from a fire. If I followed all of our decon procedures and I'm standing there in my skivvies, I'm not gonna wanna walk out into the apparatus bay, go into that hallway, to use the toilet, to come back out to go shower. And when you come back from a fire, you've been drinking water. First thing you're gonna do when you take off your bunker pants is, oh, I need to use a facility. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think having it in there is a definite plus. And if we can afford it, I think it's definitely something worthwhile to get a proper price rather than the golden throne price that was given to us of 200,000.
Right, right. It was
Right.
Donald Trump's golden toilet.
Bob, it's Nancy Zezzi. First of
Yeah,
all,
hi,
thank you
Nancy.
for, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. First of all, thank you for relieving that. I think we all feel 100% better
Good choice of
about
words.
the $25,000 as opposed to the other one. I just, I came here prepared with information that you had actually formatted way at the beginning of this project. And one of the things that you mentioned in the actual flyer of the frequently asked questions was NFPA 1581 regulations. It's required to have a bathroom that can be accessed without passing from the hot area
Yeah,
into the cold area of the offices, et cetera. So with that being said, I was really prepared to say, hey, Bob, what's up? Why did you forget to put the,
but I
bathroom?
didn't
Yeah.
because this is still in the hot zone. It's sandwiched between the two apparatus bays.
Right, but you
Sole
still have
purpose
to
of these-
leave.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, you still have to leave the decon area, as Paul said, in his skivvies to get to that bathroom area.
Oh, I
So
understand that.
I'm glad you were able to fit it all in one area at a decent price.
Yeah.
So, thank
Well,
you.
just be careful. Well, I'm telling you what I think the price would be. I'm not guaranteeing that price. We need to get them to pony up an estimate,
Right.
a proposal.
Understood.
So Bob, this is Dwight. If you are guessing it's gonna be in the vicinity of 25, is that including tile work, plumbing, electrical for a light switch, the new door for the
Yeah.
commode room?
Well,
All these
there's no tile here. This is epoxy coated concrete block.
Okay, okay. So it's a basic, it's no frills bathroom.
So it's not gonna be Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah, right. I don't think we're gonna win
Unless
any.
we go the $200,000 one and get the gold toilet.
Let's not do that. Okay, well, that's a good thing. I mean, do you envision that it could rise up to 50,000 in worst case? I mean,
I gave up, especially once COVID came, I gave up trying to estimate anything.
okay,
We used to do estimating in-house, and it was always anxiety provoking and almost never right. So the only way to get a number here is to request the pricing from the subs, the tradespeople. I
yeah,
mean, when you think about it, what's the plumber doing? He's already going to be, if you look at the other drawing, he's already putting in supply lines and drain lines here.
yeah,
So that much of supply line and drain line going across here instead of here should be no change. So
Yeah.
what's he doing? He's adding the piping under the slab for this stuff and this extending the supplies further over to this. And he's buying a toilet and a sink. How much can that be?
Yeah.
$2,000, $3,000? I don't know.
yeah. Okay,
So.
all right.
So, and I can't speak to what the construction manager had in mind. I think, and this is not to fault him, I think it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Sort of a, oh my God, let's just get the thing built. So, because I know it's a competent company. So it's still, anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think that's what he originally said, allocate 50,
Right,
right? Because that would be probably be the top end.
yeah, but we don't have to tell the contractors that. All those on tape here.
Well, right,
Absolutely
as
not.
long as they don't see whatever this broadcasting or recording.
Yeah.
But at least we're going into it knowing
Yeah,
something.
of course. Yeah.
In order to ask, do you need a note from Bob with what he added in the plan to turn over to ready to say, look, we're adding this, what is this gonna cost? Or you
Yeah,
just say, these are the new plans, what this gonna cost?
I think what we would do is we would make up a document that shows what was and what we want to have side by side on an 11 by 17 piece of paper. And ask them to come up with pricing, because you know, the electrician's gonna have something to say, the plumber's gonna have something to say, and the general GC is gonna have something to say.
I think and if it comes in way out of whack, you know, beyond, like we're saying, 50,000. 50,000 number that you want, be the budget.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
be,
We'll
I'll
learn
be,
to do this from there. You know, the fact that there are those in the hallway, yes, they are there. They're not very convenient, and it was probably an oversight on our part as well to look at it, but let's see what it would cost to be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion we should move ahead on this. And Bob, what do you need from us to make the side-by-side comparison for the construction team?
nothing.
Or what do they need from you?
No, well, you know, it's gonna be the drawing you're looking at
Okay,
and the other drawing, and nothing, no fancy or other information.
okay,
And then, you know, when they give us the price, we'll stick hard dimensions on it. I already have some of the dimensions in the computer. So that when they lay it out correctly, so that we don't end up with, you know, the door didn't fit. Now, one thing to keep in mind that happens here, in the original, all of these lockers had a concrete block wall behind them. In this one, the back of the lockers here is exposed. And we're gonna have to come up with some way to reinforce that so that it doesn't get banged up.
how tall is the ceiling in there, floor to ceiling?
About 8 feet. So
Okay,
it's not gonna be hard to do it.
Yeah, we could put a structure floor to ceiling in there that would ruggedize them.
Yeah, we'll figure something out, like you know, a heavy duty aluminum angle here or something. We don't want something that could rust. The one running across from here to here that locks in the tops of the cabinet so they don't move around. And something to keep the door from crashing into the back of that and denting it. And that's it. I want to keep this cavity as open as I can, but we could probably, I bet we could take a few inches out of it, this cavity, to provide some more clearance here, and it won't matter.
It looks like it's fairly spacious once you walk in that door. It looks like there's a fair amount of square footage behind the cabinets and before the cabinets on the left.
Yeah. But it depends how many people are trying to wrestle in there to get their clean clothes.
Hey, Bob, do you
Yeah.
anticipate putting a bench seating in the center of those? Well,
No.
in the center of the
No,
room
there's
there?
one bench here, because they're not getting undressed here.
Right,
You know, they're taking, so what's happening is they're dropping their turnout gear off. They're in here basically in their underwear. I mean, you know, it's interesting. In a lot of departments, what they're changing the standard to now is they wear gym shorts. So that, you know, under the turnout gear. So they might be standing here in their gym shorts. They come here, they get something clean that they're going to get into. They come in here, they close the door, they have complete privacy, they undress, they shower, they get into their cleans equivalent, or that maybe here is what they're going to wear to go home. But in any event, the underwear and stuff that they got out of comes back in here and gets washed at high temperature before it goes home. So they're not contaminating the family's laundry.
Right, so you're basically getting changed, Charlie, in the ante room of the shower as
Yeah.
opposed to there in front of the locker.
Exactly. And it's completely private and, you know, gender neutral and all that stuff.
Are there benches in each outer area of each shower? It looks like a bench facing left and right. Yeah,
Yeah, this bench services here. So
Sure.
you've got pegs here and here to hang stuff on. You've got this continuous, like a trench drain, a strip drain here. So this
Right.
floor here pitches toward, down sheet, and this floor pitches up sheet. So any water ends up in this slot and doesn't go beyond it. And they can sit here to the extent they need to sit to do what they're doing.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
And the
thank-
only thing that I wish was different, but I can't figure out how to make it different, would be to add a urinal here. So guys are gonna pee on the toilet seat, and that's just all there is to it, unless they are trained to raise the seat. That's really the reason why we always include a urinal in
Yeah,
these bathrooms, because who wants to sit on a wet seat?
yeah, spring-loaded seat maybe?
Oh, interesting.
He's taking it seriously.
We're trained at using hoses.
Well, you can have a sensor in the seat that gives an electric shock to the person
All right,
standing.
there's our $200,000 again.
Yeah.
So that's
Thank you.
it.
Appreciate your
No,
help.
that's good.
Yeah.
for-
That's been a
Oh,
big
I'm
help.
Happy to. Now, you may have seen the email. Craig Maloney, the structural engineer, has no issue with the exercise equipment being in that room, the way it's shown. The chief has written back identifying the poundage. I forwarded it to Craig, so, he could just say, which I know he's gonna say, yes, I understand that's what the stuff weighs. I mean, this is a guy who is an athlete, so he knows about these things also. But
What is his education? He's a structural engineer or something?
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
And
That's
he's-
good,
he's-
that answers the question.
Okay, okay,
Oh, we'll name it the Clinton bathroom.
okay. So,
Thank
folks, let's continue here while Bob is with us. Katie, 1 second. Do we have any other questions for Bob before we let him run off to the grandchildren?
Bob, just one quick question. I just want to make sure. Are there bunk rooms? I came in here in January. I know there's the standby room, but are bunk rooms still included in the design?
I have to confess, I've lost track. I'd have to pull up the second floor plan and tell you what's up there.
Okay, you don't have, when you have a chance next week, 'cause that was also part of the selling point of
I don't remember saying that, but, okay.
the
I thought they were taken out.
Yeah, I do too.
just for, just so I know, I would like to know if they're still there.
It's easy enough for me to pull up the drawing and, maybe I could do it in the morning. I happen to be in Connecticut at the New England Chiefs show.
Just, when you have a chance,
Okay,
if you could let us know, that would be great.
okay, anybody else? 1 second, Barry. Do we have anything else to say to Bob before we let him go back to the Chiefs Association?
No.
Okay,
Oh, no,
Barry,
I'm not going back to the Chiefs. I'm going to bed.
good for you. Okay, 1 second.
Upstairs bathrooms, which are gonna be associated with the physical training room. Are there any showers upstairs associated with those two bathrooms?
The physical weight room is gonna be in the existing large room.
Yeah.
Okay, right, it's not gonna be in the new building.
You have that drawing.
Yeah,
Oh,
1
somewhere.
second. Yeah, it's probably in that pile of D-size drawings, I presume.
I'll send you a fresh PDF of that's what's called phase 3,
Yes,
So I'll send you a fresh PDF of that and you guys can print it and look at it.
awesome, all right.
So is it- yes,
And
I-
I'll send you, I'll send you, okay. I'm gonna send you a phase 2 in the addition and phase 3 in the existing PDF, and that'll answer all the questions about all that stuff.
Okay,
Okay, thank
all
you.
right, thanks.
Because, just not to be argumentative, but really, for quite a while, we weren't doing a second floor, so really there was no emphasis. And I myself didn't really look at the second floor plans. So if I
Right.
get a chance this week, I will do those and follow up. on-
Please, yeah. Okay, Bob, I think we're good. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry to take so much of it, but I think you answered all our questions that were outstanding.
We've been together so long, we're like family, don't worry about it.
Okay,
2002, remember, that's where we started.
22 years. Okay,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Thanks so much, guys. Everybody have a
Thanks, Bob.
wonderful evening. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, you too.
And-
Safe
and-
drive home.
And you're doing something really good and really important, so.
Yeah.
It's nice to be part of it.
Yeah, safe drive home. Thanks.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so,
Two quick things.
yes, sir.
With regards to shower lockers for the weight room, my thought is we can repurpose these lockers Because these are temporary for us to use for decon.
Yeah.
Once we're no longer using it for decon, we can put these upstairs at the weight room so people
Yeah.
could have a locker if they need one. If we
Sure.
don't have them now, I don't think it's the
Yeah,
showstopper.
no, these are.
If there's an additional cost in phase 3 to put shower on the second floor, there's no real reason for it. He just pointed out, we've got those showers in that hallway connecting the buildings.
On the first.
You know,
Yeah.
if you're sweaty, you just go downstairs to shower. It's
Yeah.
not the same as when I was looking from a decon perspective, taking a person who is contaminated, walking through the firehouse, whether it's warm or hot, you're still gonna contaminate a bathroom here. You're all contained in one spot, so.
I was just asking.
Okay, all right, new business,
So I have one more project related question.
go ahead.
Or comment. I sent the note to the board, and while Owen is here, I want to thank him for letting Reddy and the other
Yeah.
contractor in. That this has to be a one and only. Owen's not gonna be there to do this with a regular basis.
Exactly.
I don't want to cause any problems for him with his employer.
Sure.
For, hey, could you do me a favor, let me in? But I also don't want it to be suddenly become the default. You know, I know Owen can let me in, none of the board, I just gotta run in real quick. There shouldn't be people in this building without the supervision of somebody from the board. And if they need to come in, I gotta come in tomorrow, and none of the 5 board members are available, they have to wait.
Yeah.
You have to schedule it for when it's convenient for you guys.
Yep, and we've done that when they wanted to install a Wi-Fi repeater thing up in the
No,
large
I
room.
understand that,
We've
but for
done
today,
Yeah, we agree.
but
We
now
agree.
what ends up happening is that, and everyone in this room has done this, where as soon as you get a phone number for somebody who helped you, that becomes your go-to person for when you need something. And now we've opened the door for them to go to Owen to get access to the building if they can't reach one of you guys.
I wasn't necessarily gonna bring it up, I was gonna talk face to face with Reddy and say, listen, we can't do this going forward. So just understand that it was a kind of a rare occurrence that we were all unavailable. So we understand, I appreciate your comments that, unescorted civilian in the room in any of these areas, it's a little
Well,
bit
then he
risky.
came over to Owen to ask him questions afterwards.
Oh, that I didn't know.
And, again, he's managing a
Yeah.
place of business. That's
Yeah.
not, a
Okay,
construction management location.
that's topic 1A that we're gonna talk to him about. Okay, all right, we'll get that squared away.
Mr. Chairman, we do have options. If these prices come back at $200,000, I think there's options that we can take and look into, and just get some verification on this.
I don't disagree, Barry. I think Bob probably has his finger on the pulse of the market a little better than us. So he was like a tenth of what the knee-jerk reaction was. So, yeah, really. Okay, so thank you. All right, so number 9, new business. We have to appoint election inspectors for the annual district election on December 10th.
There is a change, Bonnie Health is not available.
Okay,
I did reach out to the Russells and they have someone that they've worked with in the Newcastle
all right,
named, William Morrison.
okay. Is the board okay, or we have to vote on that? or
General.
I don't remember having to do this. Do we have to vote on these folks? Okay, so do you know the guy's name?
Morrison.
Okay, so William Morrison, John Russell, and
Kimberly Russell.
Kimberly Russell will be, unless anybody has any complaints, our election inspectors for December 10th. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, do we have to vote on that, you said? Okay, so I'd like to get a motion that we approve those 3 folks as our election inspectors and the fee that they are paid.
$70
For the-
from 69.
Okay, so we have to decide, 6 to 9, that's what it is, or that's what we've decided in the past it is? Okay, good. Okay, all right, may I have a motion on that?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we
All right.
appoint, these
3?
3
Okay,
to election duty.
all right, may I have a second, please? Second. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much, so move. Charlie. All right, ballot requirements, so I don't know what the ballot looks like right now. Is there a
So
change or
this
use the
is,
same one?
Require the 25 signature petition.
All right. We have to vote on all 3 of these things, 4 of these things? Okay, does anybody have a problem with the current ballot and a 25 signature line matrix that we've been using in the past? Okay,
It's just the requirement of,
okay, so anybody have a problem with that? Want to make any changes on that? Okay.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
So when do the 25 signatures have to be handed in?
I don't have the date in front of me. There is a date. I just can't get the Zoom.
Isn't it?
There is a schedule that I sent out on file. I mean,
Well, you can let us know.
And Nancy's looking up
Well, I
an
think it was in
Association
the,
magazine.
I think it was in the
previously.
last fire
Yeah,
district.
probably. Can you look it up by chance?
What is it?
Ballot requirements for the Board of Fire Commissioners.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Don't
whole
we have
schedule.
this?
We do, we have to approve it again.
And can we get a list of who's up and when? It would make it easier.
Yeah, I
The
think I've
terms of
got-
each fire
I
commissioner.
think I've got 2 years. Ed, you've got 1 year or 2 years?
I have one more year.
I think I have 2 years. I think Charlie is up this December. You probably have, in January, you'll have 4 years. And you have, what, 3 years to go? Okay.
Yeah, so if we have that, it would make it easier, but it is, it's all pursuant to
Yeah, yeah,
town law, so
sure.
Yeah.
you could figure that out, Kristen.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not in this particular one.
All right, so does anybody have a problem if they remember? What the ballot requirements or the ballot sheet looks like where we have to have 25 or more signatures on it? Anybody have any concerns? Okay. Budget transfers, we've already done that, right?
Yeah.
it's just the,
Yeah,
Did it as part of it.
right.
so we just need to vote on the.
Okay,
Positions.
and adding the decon bathroom. Well, we've made progress on that. I don't know that
We
we
discussed
vote. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. I don't know, does it, here's a question. I'd like to get a sense of the board. I don't know if we wanna. We need a new truck after that?
Using the door,
Yeah.
this is door sitting.
Yeah, loud. Okay, in regard to adding the bathroom in the hot zone in the addition, in the expansion area. What is the sense of the board? Are you more or less in favor of it as long as the price is 25,000 in that vicinity?
I'm
maybe a
in
little more?
favor.
Yeah,
of it.
okay.
I'm in favor. I agree with Paul.
Yeah.
$50,000. If they come in 50,000 or less, automatic.
Yeah.
Don't even ask us.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, all right,
On board.
all right, so the ballot requirement and the adding the decontamination bathroom up to, let's say, $50,000 without further voting.
Right. And if it's more, then we gotta.
We have to discuss it from there.
But I
This is more
appreciate you.
about how to hold the,
Now, we're looking
hold
for
the
the ballot
election.
form.
It's not giving me a form.
Okay, all right. Well, we can kind of remember what it looks like. Yeah, so,
Well, I was just gonna say, I appreciate the board, taking seriously my request to have that bathroom in.
well, Barry brought it up and we.
Yeah, it should be there. I
Can't
mean,
hurt. Okay,
I agree.
if I may just continue this meeting real quick. Okay, so let's get a vote. I'd like to get a vote on the motion on the ballot requirements for the Board of Fire Commissioners for the 25 signatures or more for an election.
well,
I'll make a motion, we adopt the ballot requirement.
Yeah, but-
I was gonna say it's pursuant to New York State, town law.
Okay, may I have a second, please?
I'll second
All
it.
right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, never, we didn't have any. Okay, budget transfer, we did that, okay. Now, in regard to adding the decontamination bathroom, do we wanna vote on it? To do it, go ahead, if it's up to 50,000, or do we wanna get the sense of the board that we just wanna do it and not vote to do it yet?
Well, no, I think we should vote to do it. It's,
No problem.
and with the caveat that it comes in at 50 or under.
And we will talk
And
about it
then,
more.
and
if we
then,
need to.
right, if it comes up over that, well, then we're
Okay.
gonna have to have an additional.
That sounds like a motion.
Any reasonable cost.
I will
Yeah.
Well, as
make,
you said, up to 50.
Is that a
I'll make it
motion?
a motion that
Okay.
we have the bathroom set at 50 or under. If it goes over 50, we reconvene for another vote.
Perfect.
In the decontamination area,
In
the
the
hot
In the
zone.
Right,
decontamination.
after
I'll
the
second
showers
that.
moved. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Okay.
But a bathroom meaning a commode and a sink.
Yeah, it's by law, you have to have the thing. Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Aye.
thank you. Okay. All right, public comments.
Well, I have something else.
Oh,
I just
it's
wanna
not-
let everybody
it's not on
know.
The agenda, you didn't let me know.
No, I was just, I forgot. We did hear, yesterday about, one of the FEMA grants that we submitted. Russell and I have to say thank you. He worked on it with me as well. There were 8,000 applicants, for this particular grant. We made it through the first phase. We made it into the second phase, which is very good. We did not get that grant because obviously there are a lot of things going on down south, number one. But, I just want to recognize Russell for his
Sure.
assistance in that, and I'm really glad that we made it to the second phase.
Would you give him a hearty thank you from the board?
Yes, I
Would you
will.
let him know?
I'll see him Saturday morning.
Okay, well, you,
So-
one of you can say thank you.
Yeah, you can say
officially.
thank you, but I worked with him and I think
Sure.
it was great that we
Yeah.
made it that far because,
sure.
8,000 applicants, it's a lot for us to get that far.
Right.
What are you trying to get?
Washer and dryer. But we don't have to worry about that because I received an $80,000 grant through the hard work of knocking on doors and writing letters. And it's a low cap, which is a local community assistance grant. It's for capital reimbursement for this particular department and anyone that works with the public. They recognized our department potential to contribute to the community. It was from the assistance of Senator Harkam.
Nice,
I really appreciate that. So we received $80,000.
that's great.
Here's the deal, though. It's for the washer and dryer, which is approximately $65,000.
Mhm.
So we have a little money left over, and I will sit with the chiefs to see what kind of equipment that they need to use the rest of that money up. Katie, I'm gonna need to work with you to get some paperwork together. On top of that, it's a reimbursement grant, so we need to spend that money first. We will need to get the washer and it's a gear dryer, so it's big, and we're gonna have to put that somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know where you wanna put it, but we need to get it and store it somewhere. But it will add $65,000 back into the budget for the
Very
building. And
80,000 total.
80 total,
Yeah.
but 65 for the washer and dryer.
That's great.
15,
Yeah.
About
15
15 extra,
what we
depends
want.
after we do whatever.
Well, don't really do what we want. Those grants is usually very
Equipment.
specific what we're able to use it for. Like the
Right.
golden urinal probably would not be.
Well,
used.
I
within-
have a listing of what
Within those,
equipment.
within the parameters that we could use.
So we can
Yes.
sell it?
I have a listing of what equipment and items that we can buy with that. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it.
Well, one thing that we might have use for is the installation and wiring and something like that. I don't know. So some of that may,
There's set parameters as to what we can use it for. Equipment is a definite.
Yeah. but when we want to wire them in, I
I
don't
know a
know.
lot of times the grants don't, like when we apply for the different grants that we've gotten equipment for through the group in Armonk, it's for the physical unit, installation, pickup
On,
delivery, that all
Okay.
is on the
Okay.
focus of the department.
That's really good news, Nancy.
These will be similar to what's down at Westchester DES. I worked with them, got some equipment,
Great.
got some information from them. The dealer actually is right in Armonk. So actually, I'm really proud of myself that I got $80,000. We
I think
still
that
have
deserves a
more
round
out
of
there.
applause.
Thank you, thank you.
Good job.
I actually have to say, and hopefully this will not be on the tape, but I kind of,
It is.
all right, I'll tell you what I did down at Community Day. But in any event, I hope, I implore everyone to work on these grants.
The bar is set high for the rest of the board to get out and see if you can.
Okay, let's see who could get 90. But the washer and dryers now are off the table. We have them. I'll see what kind of equipment that you could use for the manpower here. There's a lot of money for turnout gear out there, Mike, so get going on it. And the new grant cycle will be starting in March. So FEMA money is probably gonna be off the chart.
Yeah.
We'll have to use the state and local grants.
Okay,
Well, that's it.
Okay. Just one more thing before we adjourn, Paul. Okay, what?
Just a couple quick things. Community Day, again, Paul's daughter did a fantastic job. I was-
Community day or
Or
open house?
Open house, I'm sorry. I was approached by a lot of people just in conversation about what's going on. So there is kind of a lapse in communication with the public as far as they saw a fence up and they don't know much more about what's going on. Did you or Ed get a chance to go to No.1 to look at their firehouse?
We've been talking about it. We've talked about it on the phone and we haven't had the opportunity. We'll probably do it maybe over the weekend or
I still
something.
think it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And Bedford too.
The last question I have is, 5 months ago, I asked for a copy of the core sample report that was done there years ago, never received it.
What time frame was that about?
That was done a couple of years ago. Somebody had it.
Couple?
Can you say that what it was again?
It's a core,
Four.
it's a pesticide contamination core sample report. I foiled that 4 months ago, still haven't received it.
Actually did come up at a meeting and I believe you, when The response from the project committee was that all of the analysis of it was in the acceptable ranges. And to be honest, I believe you said, oh, okay, thank you. So that may have put the end on.
Okay, I still wanted to see your copy of the book. And then one of the reasons I asked for it was about 20 feet off the street along our side driveway by the rescue, there were two steel manholes and fluid or liquid or something in those manholes, and eventually they were dug up for the demolition. I just wonder if there's any issues with those. Maybe you can
Where,
ask,
where about are these manholes again? They're
They're-
in the grass?
they're in the property,
Okay,
actually to the left of the veterinarian building.
all right.
So
between their building and our
right,
driveway.
and they were there, it's about 20 feet off the curb, maybe, you can ask Joe Manafort and see him tomorrow about those, if they were ever tested or what happened with them.
20 feet from the sidewalk curb area?
I have pictures.
Okay, maybe you can send them to us because I don't remember ever seeing one there
Okay.
since the building's been demolished. I don't remember.
I'll dig them out.
That would be great.
Okay.
That'd be great. Okay. Last item on the agenda, future dates. A project special meeting will be held on November 4, 2024 at 6 p.m. I know there's another one. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 21, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Email any questions and concerns for the board's consideration for any meeting to BOFC@NCFD and the numeral 1.org. And Christine, you were about to say something?
There will be an additional OACM meeting on Monday, October 21st.
That's in the
at 6
morning.
PM.
That's at the same time as we're having our meeting. 6:30.
It's a rescheduled.
Yeah, but it's-
meeting.
No,
Oh,
October 21.
October.
Oh, October, I'm sorry, I read
So
November.
Monday,
You're so
there'll be
right.
an OACM meeting, then there will be another one on November 4th in place of Veterans Day. That's moving a week sooner because of the holiday.
Okay, there's
And
a,
then the regular meeting will be on that.
I got that. Yep, I said it and I was not focusing on the October. Okay, so there will be another OACM meeting, which is a meeting of, information download from the project manager to the board on October 21st at the firehouse at 1800 local time.
And special counsel Lynn Weinig will be attending to have a resolution regarding amending the contract for the
Yeah.
5%.
Those 5 contractor amendments, yeah.
I sent her a draft resolution today.
Yeah.
She's gonna review it and then we'll get that out to you the next.
She actually sent them out just before, I think.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
So-
I think she sent it out and I printed it out already. I can, if you want it, rather than printing another copy. Okay, anybody else, anything else they want to bring to before the board before we adjourn? Yeah, hearing nothing, do we have a motion to it?
Motion, okay.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
motion, okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Have a good night.